Hello, hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mitzi, and this is Mitzi. Let's think about it. Today, we are thinking about meditation because let's be honest, that is something that we need to think about. So, luckily for me, I have a special guest, Scott, here, who is the one to talk to when it comes to meditation. He has written books about it, he has changed his life around it, and I am here to just pick his brain to see what he really thinks about when it comes to meditation. So, Scott, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hi, Mitzi. It's great to be here. Like Mitzi said, my name is Scott, and I would estimate in silent meditation for, maybe 10 to 12 days at a crack for over 260 days. So
Okay.
I have done a lot of meditation in my life, almost a whole year of my life spent silently meditating. I've written a number of books about it, books about meditation and grief and how to meditate. And I'm working on a book now about taking the precepts, which are things that people usually agree to when they go to meditate, and bringing those precepts alive in your life on a daily basis.
Well, that
So a
is
lot of different
interesting.
pieces.
Yeah, it's interesting because when I think about meditation, I think of putting yourself in silent ambiance, and clearing your mind and just focusing on either a set of words or not even focusing on anything but just silence. But what does it mean? What is meditation really? Like, what are you doing? I don't know if I'm doing it right. Am I doing it right?
Well, there's one of the issues around meditation these days is that it has been it's like classical music that's been turned into pop music. If you ever hear some of
Okay.
those classical bands that have like
Yeah.
bridged into pop, and
Yeah.
suddenly there's classical music with like a rock beat or something, and it's just
Yeah.
this, it's not really classical anymore, but it's just, this thing to dance to. And most people mistakenly think that meditation is like getting high. They think, I'm going to go
Okay.
meditate. I've had a hard day. I have to get rid of my stress. I'm going to sit down.
Yeah.
I'm going to do this. And suddenly I'm going to be at peace, and I'm going to be chilled. And
Right.
that actually is not what meditation is at
Okay.
all. Meditation, as opposed to being like this drug induced state that you do to deal with stress, is more like running.
Oh,
Meditation, that's a better metaphor towards what meditation's about than this kind of I'm high and wasted drug induced state.
yeah.
Why do we go running? We go running because running helps increase our cardiovascular system, our aerobic system, our muscular system, all at the same time. And that's going to help us live longer and productive life. So we measure the impact of running not by what we're getting at mile 1 or
Hmm.
mile 5 or mile 5 feet. We measure running by how easily we can run up the stairs after doing that. We measure running by weight loss, blood sugar, all these other things that have an impact on that. And that really is what meditation is about. And the
Wow.
and the measurement, like if
Hmm.
we're talking about running, we're talking about VO2 max and other things, heart rate, your resting heart rate goes down. What happens if you're really practicing solid meditation is your equanimity goes up. Equanimity is key. That's what meditation's all about.
What is equanimity? Iniquity. I mean, did I say it right? I feel like I bashed it. But if you don't
That's
mind me asking, what is that?
Absolutely. Because see, people don't talk about this, right?
Yeah,
They think it's
we
like,
really
oh, I'm
don't.
meditating, I'm cool. That's not it. Meditation, real strong meditation, helps you develop equanimity, and then you're more equanimous. In other words, when the shit hits the fan, you're chilled, you're cool. And this is the important piece. Not just when the shit hits the fan are you cool, but when things are going awesomely great, you're cool. Because what's one of the truths about life? When things are going great, what's going to happen?
I bet.
It's going to end.
Yeah.
Everything that's great ends. The
Hmm.
chocolate pie is gone.
I
The
know.
great sunset is gone. The strength that we had when we were younger, it's gone.
Yep.
Everything that's really great fades away. Cars rust, people grow old, people die, everything just falls away. And so it's not just having a balanced mind and equanimity when things are bad, because that sometimes can be stoicism, right? You can be sucking it up. I'm cool. I'm not, this doesn't affect me because I have equanimity. And that's not necessarily equanimity. That might just be more you're sucking it up, hard determination, right?
Okay.
But you
Yeah.
really see where someone's equanimity is when things are going great, and
And they're
then
still
that thing
level-headed.
ends because that catches you by surprise because you're not
Mm.
necessarily prepared to suck it up, right?
Yeah.
And
Wow.
so
This is really
equanimity is
interesting.
having balance of mind all the time, no matter, so that you're just, it just is.
It's not like it's nonchalant where you don't care. It's just to the point where you're okay with whatever that happens and it's okay, right? That's more so
Correct.
what it
That's
is.
brilliant. You really hit it, Mitzi, because this piece of you don't care in meditation practices, people call indifference the near enemy of equanimity. Wow, very good. Because it's so close to it
Yeah.
that it's easy to be like, yeah, I get it. I just don't give a shit. No,
Yeah.
that's not it. Because what you start to realize in meditation practice is that all people are really suffering and struggling. And so
Yeah.
you cared more deeply at the same
Oh.
time that you're balanced.
Oh, well, that's interesting. That's really interesting. I mean, it shows that you are tapping into your empathy because of like what you just said, you care more. I mean, you're more empathetic, you're more compassionate, but at the same time, you're level-headed because you're centered. I feel like you become centered and it's like your foundation and your core is grounded. So when there's a big wave or there's like a big storm comes, you're not gonna sway. You'll be okay. I mean, in my words, that's how I understand it.
That is exactly it. That is exactly it. It's
Okay,
having this
cool.
like even keel when the big waves come, so you don't get, most people get tossed about in life,
Yeah.
right? When things are
Hmm.
great, when their situation is great, they are just happy. When their
Yeah.
situation is not so great, they're all depressed. But just imagine if you could be
Right
balanced
there. Yeah.
regardless of your situation, not numbed out, very engaged, still compassionate. And so the practice of meditation that gets you there is called vipassana.
Okay.
And so vipassana means observing things as they really are. And so that type of meditation, it's a meditation that you start doing after you've concentrated your mind. When you're doing like breathing meditation, or some people count 1, 2, 3, or they say a chant, or they focus on a syllable, really
Okay.
they're just concentrating their mind. And
Yeah.
that's a way to think about that. Is it's kind of like sharpening the knives when you're going to go cook dinner.
Hmm,
The
okay.
goal is to have sharp knives so that you can cut up meat and potatoes and you're not going
Yeah.
to cut your finger,
Yeah.
right? It's a real important thing. If you got a dull knife, that's not going to serve you in getting ready for whatever meal you're preparing.
Right.
But the goal is not to just have a sharp knife, it's to have a great meal. And so after you've sharpened your mind with these breathing techniques to be very concentrated, that's where
Yeah.
a lot of people end. They're like, oh, I'm not thinking, I'm cool. That's it. I'm high. Nope.
Mhm.
Then you use the knife to make something, and what you're making is equanimity. And the recipe that you're following to make equanimity is Vipassana.
Okay, that is really interesting. So I guess it leads to my next question. I mean, what could have inspired you to dive into meditation where you have written books and you are so knowledgeable that you are sharing with me and helping me think about it in a different way? I mean, what really inspired you to dive into this?
I was I was I was tricked into going on a meditation course
Oh, they
by
gotcha.
somebody that had been on a meditation course, and he said to me, "You should go." And I'm like, "I'm not going. It's a cult." And he's like, "You should go." And I'm like, "I'm not going. You're a freak." And he's like, "Really, you should
Mm.
go." And finally, after like maybe a year and a half of being like, "You should go. It's really good." He'd gone on a couple retreats.
Interesting.
He's like, "Look at me." He says, this is beneficial." I'm like, "I'm not gonna go spend 10 days in silence." I'm like, "Can I take a book? No. Can I take my iPod? No. Can I call people? No. Can I talk to people? No." I'm like, "Well, I'm not going." And he was like, "You really need to go," because and I was like really suspicious about this, cutting
I would
yourself
have
off
too.
and not talking and all that other stuff. But what that does is it really helps us quiet the mind and sharpen the knife so we can follow the recipe of Vipassana to make the meal of equanimity.
Mm,
We are so inundated with stimulation all the time,
it's true.
right? It's just crazy. Anybody who has ever, I don't know if this has happened to you, Mitzi, but I know it has happened to me. You were listening to a song on the radio 3 or 4 times, and it's a great song, la 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 la, and you go to bed at night and you're laying in bed, and what do you hear in your head? Beep 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 beep
That's
beep beep.
the
That
song.
song,
Yes.
right?
It drives me
It
crazy.
Your mind is like
Yeah.
so not reading, not talking, not listening to music takes away all that stimulation. And this turns into this, which turns into this, which turns into this. And then the knife is sharpened. After 3 or 4 days, you're quiet. And then boom, you're off to do Vipassana.
Wow. That's interesting how and that ended up happening to you. I mean, I don't blame you. I would have thought it was a cult too. I mean, you're telling me you have to be silent for so long. Goodness. Some people can't be in their own silence. Sometimes some people can't even be by themselves to even have that moment to be silent because it's constant going, going, going. Like you said, we are people of motion. We are always doing something. So to find someone to help you silence your mind, I mean, that must have been a big thing on the other person to realize, like, hey, Scott has a busy mind. He needs to calm it
Right.
down.
The nice thing about going to some place where there's like where I did like a meditation course, and not just an hour, but 10 days or something like that, is that you would think it's not going to be, you think it's going to be really hard to be quiet, but with everybody being quiet, the strength of the group kicks in, and then it's much easier for you to be quiet.
Nice. Okay. I can see how that works. Okay, nice. Nice. So I guess my next question is, what does calming the chaos mean to you then? Because it seems like you kind of got it, but what does it necessarily mean when someone says, I'm trying to calm my chaos?
Really, what they are doing is they're just sharpening the knife,
Okay.
right? That's what they're doing.
So,
They're
okay.
missing the big piece, right? They're
Okay.
just saying, I and what you end up doing, if you think about this, what is the source of the chaos? The source of the chaos is their reactive mind. If they
Oh,
had equanimity, there'd be no more chaos, or the chaos would go lower, because you wouldn't be, because the chaos, what's the chaos? My boss yelled at me, my husband screamed at me, that person cut me off, I'm not making enough money, am I going to have money to retire, what am I going to do for dinner, oh my gosh, it's so hot, is there global warming, oh my gosh, there's these MAGA people, oh my god, there's these Biden people, another person got shot today, blah, 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 blah,
constant, on the go,
right?
always.
And so the calming of the chaos is just, yeah, you're silencing, but you're not giving yourself a tool to stop the chaos dead in its tracks.
Okay. Okay, so I guess to lead to my next question, it should tie into it because if you're not doing it correctly, how do you necessarily know to start it correctly? How do you consciously get yourself at least to the point to, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm trying to go?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, the best thing to do that I can encourage folks to do is to cut yourself off and do a 10-day course. I know you're going to be like, "Oh, he wants me to go. It's a cult. I don't want to do it." But
Oh, we got scammed. No.
yeah, it's that's going to give you a strong, solid foundation. It's
Okay.
kind of like somebody saying, what should I do? You can go running and exercise just a little bit, or you can go and you can join a running team. You can get a coach. You can get work with people that are going to help you with your form. And the same is true in just about everything, which includes meditation.
Okay, that's nice. So I guess to excuse me, start wrapping up the show, what would be something that you can leave my audience with? I mean, you already gave so much great information. You really taught me so much where I'm thinking about meditation a whole different perspective. I'm glad I haven't done a meditation podcast by myself because you would probably listen to like, this girl is wrong. And so thank you. I'm so glad I got you on my show. But what would you really leave someone off with if this is kind of their journey that they're going towards?
Um, there is there's a poem. I'm going to give you a poem. How's that?
I'll
There's
take it. Let's
a
hear
woman
that
named
poem.
Ella, and this really sums up what meditation is about.
Okay.
And it's by a woman named Ella Wheeler Wilcox, this was like 100 years ago. And she said in this poem, "It's easy enough to be pleasant when life flows by like a song, but the man worthwhile is the one who smiles when everything goes dead wrong. For the test of the heart is trouble, and it always comes with the years. And the smile that is worth the praise of earth is the smile that shines through tears."
Oh,
That
wow.
is that is what meditation gets you.
Wow, that's a deep poem. That's a
Yeah.
beautiful poem. That should be it's trademark right there. Boom. I love it. Thank you so much. I think that's something that's truly necessary for people to hear, so that they can think about their life differently. Because maybe someone who's listening is already consciously doing it without realizing that's what you're doing. And if that's what you're already doing, without having the correct verbiage for it, well then keep up the great work. And if you want to get better, yeah, find that person in your area that can really help you do the research because this sounds like we all need this, especially now with there's so much chaos that's
Oh my
continuously
gosh.
happening. I think if humanity became more stable in themselves, we wouldn't have so much radical behavior and people and the chaos that we really surround ourselves with, because let's be honest, stable people, they don't really cause drama.
No, because those folks have another core quality that gets developed with equanimity, and that is empathy.
Yeah,
We really
empathy.
need more empathy
That's
with
true.
other folks. If we only had empathy, but we're so
Exactly.
protective and wrapped up in our own thing and all this other stuff.
That's true, and it makes it hard to even have empathy or compassion because people are so focused in their own little world and to only realize that they're building their house out of sticks instead of bricks, and it's just so crazy to really think about. This has been a great conversation, Scott. I want to wrap up the show so that we can send everybody home and keep on thinking. So if you guys want to know more about Scott or get to know exactly how to find his books, he has all of his great books. I mean, he has a lot of great books with great topics. I was looking through his website. You will not be disappointed. I have his lovely picture on my website with a direct link to his website. So you don't have to go searching on Google and trying to find him. Don't worry. Come to me. I got you.
Thanks,
All
Mitzi.
right, you're very welcome, Scott. And that's it. That's our show. Always keep thinking, y'all. Bye.